If you've been thinking about getting serious with your money, like actually serious, now's the time. The Motley Fool is offering new members 50% off their iconic stock recommendation service, Stock Advisor. This is the same service that's crushed the market with recommendations that have returned 1,057% since inception, compared to the S&P 500's 180% over that same period. This isn't guesswork. The Motley Fool has a track record of finding companies before they become household names. So if you want to invest smarter and you like saving money while doing it, go to fool.com/listen to claim your 50% off discount off a 1-year term of Stock Advisor. Again, that's fool.com/listen. Returns of 1,057% are from the Motley Fool's product Stock Advisor and measured against S&P 500 returns of 180% as of July 10th, 2025. Past performance is not an indicator of future results. All investing involves a risk of loss. Individual investment results may vary.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Noise Junkies! It's a music podcast, baby! Covering every musical genre. What do we got that the others don't? I'll tell you! We got Mondo Heather's Heather Drain. Noise Junkie! We got Wolf and Raisins HP. Noise Junkie! We got Dark Destinations Father Malone. Noise Junkie! And we got you! We got music and we got you, baby! And you get it at Weird and Way Media. Noise Junkies!
We deal in paint, pigment, light and shadow, realism, surrealism, impressionism, and ghost stories.
An interest in the oddball, a predilection toward the bizarre. And this place is nothing if it isn't bizarre.
There's no admission, no requirement of membership, only a strong and abiding belief in the dark at the top of the stairs, or things that go bump in the night. The name of this place, should you have come in here accidentally out of the rain, is the Night Gallery.
Welcome back, art lovers, to Midnight Viewing, the Night Gallery podcast, where we discuss Night Gallery, Ron Serling's follow-up to The Twilight Zone. I'm Father Malone, and with me here in the gallery are the Culture Cast's Chris Stachiw.
There aren't any more MacBanes.
Are you sure? Also joining us is the Projection Booth's Mike White.
I'm so into witchcraft on this episode.
I think everyone's into witchcraft in this episode. And the episode is season 2, episode number 20. This aired on February the 16th, 1972, and was split into 2 segments. Those are I'll Never Leave You, Ever, and There Aren't Any More MacBanes.
Our opening kickoff is deep into the end zone of the moors, where hounds bay and witches fly brooms. And the belief in the supernatural is as natural as breathing, or not breathing. We call this item, I'll Never Leave You, Ever.
I'll Never Leave You Ever, written by Jack Laird from a short story by Renee Morris and was directed by Daniel Holler. It stars Lois Nettleton, Royal Dano, and John Saxon. It also stars Peggy Weber as the old crone. She was also in The Different Ones, that one where Dana Andrews shot his kid into space. She was the operator who talks him into shooting his kid into space. This one's a love triangle in 18th century England, Wales. Who can tell? Thank God a Saxon is present to sort it out. This one's about a young wife who's plotting her elderly husband's death so she can be with John Saxon. And who can blame her? What'd you think of this one, Mike?
I thought there were some very effective moments. I love Royal Dano or Dano. I'm not sure. Is he related to Paul Dano or Dano?
Good question.
I
Let's
never
call him Dano,
really
by the way. I heard somebody else call it Dano, and it like crept into my brain that I was doing it wrong, but I think it's Dano.
I think they said that in the opening when they said tonight's guest stars. I think they said Dano, and then I want to say that Paul Dano also pronounces his name incorrectly. You idiot. That's not how you say your name. I thought there were some very effective moments. I love a good voodoo doll, even though this is not kind of a voodoo doll. It's pretty much a voodoo doll. And all the stuff that happens with it is pretty freaking amazing. I really love to hear Royal Dano just screaming through half of this episode. And then, yeah, it's great. John Saxon comes in at the beginning. He's there. He disappears for a long, long time, to the point where I wrote in my notes, wasn't John Saxon in this episode? But otherwise, I had a good time with it.
I watched it 3 times, and it's not bad. It's just,
I think watching it 3 times might have been your second and third mistake.
yeah. Well, again, trying to do one's due diligence here and focus on other things, I guess. But it's just weird. I don't know. I think for me, the issue was I feel like I've seen this story before in this show, and it didn't need half of the episode to tell this story. And yeah, like you've mentioned, Mike, there are clearly some kind of fun little gags that they use, the fresh wood doll that can't be burned, or whatever the hell's going on in half of this with that little wooden doll. But similarly to other episode segments of this show that we've talked about, sometimes they just push the gag and push the gag and push the gag, and they just keep going. And it's like, maybe instead of doing it that 4th and 5th time, just do it 3 times. And then we cut 10 minutes out, and we can have another segment that's a little interstitial, a little palate cleanser. But even then, it's like they don't even do the palate cleansers anymore, because the palate cleansers, those blackouts, are now just blown up into full feature-length segments. It's like, whoa, guys, that did work. That did work. Why we deviated from it, because every segment now feels like it's expansive. And they're telling this like whole thing with all these moving parts. It's like, I wish for the days of Children's Zoo. And I know that's Twilight Zone, but they were using a similar format here.
I did not like this one. I think this was the worst directed episode in the entire series. The whole thing was really murky. There's a lot of silhouettes going on, which do not feel as if they were planned to be that. This felt familiar, Chris, not necessarily from this series, but it definitely felt like a Tales from the Crypt episode. I like that what's described as this horrible old man turns out to be just this devoted invalid, making this character, the lead character, like really horrible.
Let me come comb your hair. Come over here and let me comb your hair. I hate you, you fucking piece of shit. Like, whoa, like, I guess maybe this has been going on for a long time. I guess is what we're supposed to believe, is that she's at the end of her rope because she just has to take care of her husband till death do they part, which is what I thought the fucking term was here.
And till death seems very, very soon. The problem here is that he's lingering. He can't linger that long. Why does she have to enact anything? It just doesn't make sense. John Saxon says this to her at the end. Like, why did you do this? You could have just waited like a week, maybe.
You just take him, you push him in front of that open window, you leave the open window wide open.
Exactly.
Wait for him to get the flu, and that's it.
You just go push him from wherever she ends up jumping from at the end of the episode segment.
I had a real hard time figuring out what was going in that room after she puts them in the bag.
Yeah.
She sets them on fire.
Yes.
Then she throws them. Does she put them in water to put them out?
No, he just like jumps out of the fire.
No, it jumps out of the fire. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's an issue.
Oh, that's right.
This doll has self-preservation.
Yeah, that was weird.
Well, is it mimicking him? Is it mimicking him too? If it's an avatar for him, is he flailing around on the bed?
We'll never know, because they're not cutting between them to show us any correlation between the two. They explain no rules here with their Welsh voodoo doll. It's got to be Wales. John Saxon's character's name's Ianto.
Okay.
So we've got a Welsh voodoo doll without any clear parameters of how it's supposed to behave, and it's self-preserving, which could have been interesting if like she had to chase that doll around in order to kill it, like just trying to kill her husband, that like a reverse on Trilogy of Terror.
Yes, I was totally thinking of the Zuni fetish doll.
It could have been great. Also, there's I'm jumping around, but there's an out of nowhere inner monologue late in this episode. that suddenly we were in Dune. Like once the doll is animate and running around, we get her inner thoughts. And it's the first time ever. Okay. She goes to get the doll because she wants to kill her husband. The doll poses no danger to her. She finds herself unable to burn the doll, which her method is to just put it on the rocks in the fireplace. She never actually puts it into the flames. And if that's hurting it, okay, I get it that it's new wood, so it's not going to burn right away. But like, how about crack the head off of it? She doesn't try anything. She goes and throws it into a swamp.
Where's the axe? Get the axe.
Yeah.
And then that's my thing is when she throws it into the swamp, does the room become a swamp? Is that what's happening? Is his bedroom suddenly a swamp?
Yes, I think so. But that's weird.
Okay.
What is going on in Wales?
It's indeterminate, really. Like you mentioned it, Father Malone. Like I had a hard time following what was going on because it's just poorly presented and not in an interesting way either.
How far does that doll need to turn its head to get a look at her? It does it 5 times. There is 5 separate shots of this little doll turning its head. I will say the likeness of Royal Dano is pretty good on that tiny carving. Like that was definitely him. I also like the very 1970s diamond lens flares, part of this director's choices here in the episode. Also, when our lead is running through the forests, they use every sound effect in their animal collection library. It's as if they just went down the line pushing the buttons on every recording. It was maddening. Is there any suspense here? And there, by the way, at the end where she's looking for Yanto, is anyone in the audience convinced she's going to find him, that he's going to be standing in that forest waiting for her, and that it's not going to be her dead husband?
Yeah, and I agree. They definitely were using those sheep sound effects quite a bit.
Yeah, man. Also, apparently, the price of, if you were going to write up a receipt for the transaction, it would read death of elderly husband by black magic, total 2 spring lambs. Who knew it was that easy?
I love that character. The witch character is my favorite character in the entire episode segment because she's just like, you stupid lady. Oh my God.
Lots of tongue action. She's pushing the ballsy.
Did the Princess Bride show up? Was that going on? Was Billy Crystal in the back? It was like overacted. And ostensibly everything else was meant to be serious. And it's like this weird, just like I don't know, Witch of the Woods. That's a very specific tropey kind of character in this kind of stuff. And boy, it's just like right within that wheelhouse. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything to break any molds here, like at all. It's very rote.
By the way, okay, so I mentioned she doesn't try to destroy the doll other than fire, but she gets the doll home, she puts it into this sack, and Royal Dano starts screaming from the other room that he's now blind, to show the audience the correlation between the doll and Royal Dano. 2 things. When she goes into the room to check on him, his eyes are closed and he keeps saying, I can't see. And all I could think was, open your fucking eyes, man. And then the other thing is, so now the wife has figured out that what happens to the doll happens to him, and her immediate reaction is, I'll put this in the fire. Jesus Christ, it's the most cold-blooded thing ever. She does not get the comeuppance she deserves in the end of this. She should have burned, right? Oh my God, I feel terrible saying that, but
something that would have been deserving of the way she treated her like invalid husband.
Yeah, man. I don't know. John Saxon to the rescue, please.
He's just not given enough to do.
Goatee.
Oh, he looked like I would say David Banner. He looked like whatchamajiggy from the last episode, the Bruce Bixby character with an equally terrible looking fake
Bill
goatee.
Bixby? I would rather watch that 1,000 times and watch this again.
Our next painting tells the story of a young man whose major in school is philosophy, but whose extracurricular labors take him into the area of black magic. And for this, you don't get a degree, but the commencement ceremony is a gas. See for yourself as we offer you There Aren't Any More MacBanes.
There Aren't Any More MacBanes. This one was written by Alvin T. Sappinsley from a short story called By One, By Two, and By Three by Stephen Hall. And this one was directed by John Newland. It stars Joel Grey, Howard Duff, Daryl Larson, Barry Higgins, and Luke, we're going to have company, Look, we've had a slew of mugging, mealy mouth, face pulling, really bad actors playing delivery men this season, but here's Mark Hamill to save the day and redeem it, because it's a really fun scene and he's good in it. This is the story. This is the story of grad students and ancient family secrets that finds Joel Grey unleashing a demon that stubbornly won't go away until all of his friends are dead. They tend to do that. What do you think of this one, Chris?
I love the line, "See ya, Francis." Such a great fucking line. What's your name? Francis. Francis. Yeah, Mark Hamill. Look, Joel Grey is great, but Mark Hamill in that scene looking mighty good too. Again, just baby-faced Mark Hamill. Like, I don't know. That kind of weird memento in time aside, these revenge episodes all feel of a piece, right? This feels like that the one where the guy's head is in the wall at the end. It's the same thing of just, don't you see where this is going? Don't you get it? And this kind of feels of a piece of all these. Be careful what you wish for, because the monster you unleash may come back to just kill you instead.
What year was this supposed to be set in? Because at first I was thinking that they were going to do the old 23 skidoo and have some like raccoon skin coats and like little pennants and stuff. And then it seems to be jolly old England. Then it seems to be back in the 20th. I'm like, when is this? It's so overwritten, and the dialogue is so from a book and not rewritten for human mouths. So I had to write this line down. The object of my mild regard lives not to see the dawn.
There's a character named Mr. Standish in this story, okay?
Thank you, Joel Grey, who's doing his best Billy Mooney impersonation. He looks like Billy Mooney in this for some reason.
He really did.
Joel Grey, I love the guy, but he was just mugging and chewing the scenery like pretty much everybody in this episode. I didn't get that his two friends were dying because he unleashed the demon. I thought it would just be his enemies, aka his uncle. And his uncle comes in, he's just, "What are you doing, getting a degree in wizardry?" And I'm like, wait, they offered that? That was so weird. This episode did not hold together for me.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Wait, really?
Oh, totally. I had a good time with this one, beginning to end. Starting with the painting, Tom Wright's painting, that magician-looking fellow. If you were to plop a cog in front of that guy, you're 90% of the way towards the Industrial Light and Magic original logo, I thought. I think I like stories like this. I think this, as far as the revenge in Night Gallery, this one goes right back to Portafoy with the cemetery.
Nice.
It's the same story, except Roddy McDowall is the hero of this one. I thank stories like this and like Lot 249 from Tales from the Dark Side for teaching me the valuable lesson that if your college roommate starts chanting in an arcane language, you should leave town, because it seems to happen a lot. Here's a trope or is this a trope? I'm wondering, drinking jovially to your disinheritance. Is that a thing? I feel like I see it a lot.
This story feels very similar to something that we watched with the Twilight Zone 85 stuff. This whole, what was it like? We're going to get together and we're going to do evil or something. And it was just a bunch of like college yahoos, and they're just, they're toasting to how bad
Hellfire
they are.
Club.
Yes, there's
Hellfire
very
Club.
much. Yes.
And then they're like, the ghosts start showing up.
Right.
The ones that aren't able to be there anymore. Yeah, I think this would have worked better if it had been set in the time period that was set in.
Or if the other two characters were characters, because it's Joel Grey, his uncle, and then two guys who are just kind of replaceable. I'm like, after a while, there was the one guy, the Donnie Most looking guy. I was just like, wait, is he Mark Hamill? No, that's not Mark Hamill. And then Mark Hamill shows up, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And then the guy shows up again. I'm like, is that Mark Hamill? No, that's not Mark Hamill.
I believe that guy's name is Darrell Larson, and I liked him a lot. That whole chase sequence, it had problems because he would get chased into an inescapable position, and then they would just cut to the exterior, and he would just walk out and then find his way to another inescapable position. That was lame. But the chase itself, this hellhound chasing him with the glowing red eyes, they did something really cool, which is the lights wouldn't go off when the dog was chasing. They would dim slowly. And I thought that was really effective. In fact, I think the entire chase was actually genuinely scary, particularly when it has him cornered in the basement and it breaks the window and suddenly it has not human, but basically human hands, and it rips those bars open. I thought that was really terrifying.
Agreed, 100%. That's the most effective part of the episode segment for me, is that scene, because I did not expect it to have hands, and all of a sudden it has hands. And again, like that, the amorphous creature presents opportunities to do interesting things, and they were just like, oh, now it's a hulking mass that could rip this bar open, and then later it's, I guess, like a human monster or something.
Well, yeah, they don't explain why it doesn't kill him at that moment, because this is the force that Joel Grey has unleashed, and it's killing everyone dear to him now, his family, and he calls them family early on. But
he says, I called it back at the last minute. And I was like, whoa, well, that was very convenient that you called him back right at the moment when he was about to come into that room.
How about a visual effect or a sound effect to clue us in that the monster has been recalled instead of just the guy waking up the next day? Anyway, that's nitpicking, I guess. I did like when they find the uncle's corpse. It was two characters who were already involved in the show. Remember the brooch episode with Sandra Locke, where they suddenly have these two wacky English old men who find, like, look at what we have here, governor, that thing. Like, what the hell was that? This felt much more organic, so it made me appreciate it a little bit more.
This was a mediocre episode overall for me.
Oh, how dare you. This was fun. Hellhound.
No, I'm talking about like the episode. I'm talking about the episode overall. Both segments together.
Yeah.
This segment's better than the first one, I think. Like,
if I'm going to do a Hellhound, I want it to be Tom Skerritt.
You can't always get him, is the thing.
No.
All right, we're going to play a preview of our next episode, and we'll be right back to wrap things up.
Now this one here, unabashed and unashamed, I submit to you as a dandy. It delves into an ancient funeral rite having to do with a personage called a sin eater. One who attends a wake and partakes of the funeral food, and in the process digests all the transgressions of the deceased, so that he departs the earth a much cleaner and sweeter little item, proving that we've become a bit more sophisticated in our tribal rites, but we are much the poorer for our 20th century chromium intellect. You might agree with me after you've seen Sins of the Fathers. Offered to you now an item having to do with labor and management. An employment office where is offered a collection of potential employees whose skills are unique. For in addition to their loyalty, industriousness, punctuality, and impeccable cleanliness, they also run at least 100,000 miles without a lube and an oil change. It's no wonder we call this one, You Can't Get Help Like That Anymore.
That's right. On the next Midnight Viewing, we'll be taking a look at Season 2, Episode 21. That's broken into two segments, The Sins of the Father and You Can't Get Help Like That Anymore. Midnight Viewing, the Night Gallery podcast, is a proud member of the Weirding Way Media Group, and the theme song was composed by HB. I want to thank you all for joining us. Before we sign off, Chris Stachiw, where can people find you other than the aforementioned Weirding Way? What are you working on?
Lots of stuff with both of y'all. We're going to be starting a new project here pretty quick, but the Culture Cast and all the other things, Barney Miller, Columbo, Weirding Way Media. Yeah. Mike, what about you? Anywhere else you can be found?
I was just about to read a wonderful review that I got today for a little podcast that I do called The Projection Booth. And I thought you guys might appreciate this. Let's see. Here we go.
This is real, folks. We don't know this ahead of time. This is going to be a legit reaction, and I'm expecting something good.
The Projection Booth podcast, Raiders Story Meetings. Whoever plays George Lucas needs to settle down. The editing needs to be better. You can hear two sentences by the same person overlapping. 2 stars.
Settle down.
I would love for the person who wrote that comment to read 30 pages of George Lucas talking, and then kindly, from me to you, go fuck yourself.
As for me, you can find me at I do a show called Noise Junkies. It's a music podcast I do with HP, the aforementioned HP, and Mondo Heather's Heather Drain. And you can find some of the visual stuff I do over at fathermalone.com. Well, that's it. The gallery is now closed.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.